bring your attention back to the present moment. Within the present moment, there's a truth. The truth of the present moment is comprised of two components: the permanent truth and the temporary truth. The permanent truth is the structure within which the temporary truth plays out. So when we return to the now, we become aware of the truth. When we become aware of the truth, we are returning to the permanent truth, and we're gaining more control over the temporary truth. The more we're distracted from the truth, the more we're busy with the imagination, the more we lose control over the temporary truth. The temporary truth is constantly happening inside of us. The permanent truth is the reason why the temporary truth even exists. So when we become silent, in essence we're returning to the permanent truth. When we're silent, the permanent truth is still there. When we are not saying anything, reality is still saying us. But when we're experiencing silence, there are still many layers of temporary truth that are present, and yet we don't see them. We see through them, but we don't see them. They're inherent in our perception. They are lenses that have covered our perception since a certain time. And since that time, we've experienced reality only through that lens, through that perception. And so at any time, these lenses are activated. These lenses are in the form of patterns of activity in the brain, or patterns of activity in any of the organs. The perception of reality includes all the activity. The biological activity that's temporary, that's being activated by the events and the circumstances, that activity is creating a lens that is temporary, that is not essentially real. So all the events are affecting our organs. All the effects of our organs affect perception. The bigger the event, the more emotional, the deeper the difference it's going to make in perception. So in order to stabilize the temporary truth, which is the biological reality that we exist in. We want to have the experiences that create a kind, temporary truth. Because the permanent truth is always kind. The permanent truth is infinitely kind. The temporary truth is sometimes kind and sometimes not so kind. So on the basis of the kindness of the permanent truth, we want to create a kind temporary truth. Temporary gets created by the experiences, by the beliefs, by the activity that we ourselves create. And so to have the right experiences, to have experiences that are conflict-free, is to help balance the temporary truth so that when we come to the present moment, we find something that's pleasant to dwell in. Then we'll want to return often. If we return often, then we're going to eventually realize the kindness of the permanent truth, and the temporary truth will become less important. It will be less influential on our mood because we already realized a deeper base from where to find safety. When we try to return to the present moment, it means we're trying to cleanse our temporary truth. As long as it's not clean, we can't fully return because it's not inhabitable by the spirit. The human spirit doesn't find it pleasing yet. And so then, every time we return, every time we attempt to become present, we're improving the condition of the being so that it becomes more pleasant to return. So that the light, the infinite light of the permanent truth can shine through whatever obstacles are still taking place in the temporary truth. The kindness of existence itself can outshine the trouble of the circumstances within existence. Once the temporary truth becomes aware of the permanent truth, then both of them always shine. Because it's not the circumstances that we're being tested with. It's our own function within the nervous system that's being tested. And this is what needs to be mastered if we want to have a balanced access to life. So the circumstances might be what they might be. The test is always the same. The test is, after all that, can you find balance? Can you appease the spirit within so that it still wants to live with the same amount of vigor. That's always the test, regardless of what the circumstances might describe, whatever type of drama. It's all the same test. It's testing the nervous system. The nervous system is in charge of the temporary truth. The nervous system is converting permanent truth, the wisdom of the Creator, the will of the only one who can and made everything, the only one who can make, the only one who is capable, the only one who was, the only one that is. The nervous system translates His wisdom into our experience. He is the permanent truth. We are the temporary truth. We're in charge of how it feels to be in our nervous system. How it feels gives us access to a reality. That reality has its own rules and its own understandings. If we felt different, we would be in a different reality where we would have different answers to all the questions. All the words mean different things based on how we feel. This is why the true wisdom could never be written down. It's not something that can be written down. Because if somebody feels differently, then those very same words are going to mean something very different. When we translate words, we're consulting with our mood first, which means the words never have an absolute meaning. They cannot. This is why the Torah has 70 faces. Whichever face is looking at it is the one that's deciding what it's going to mean. So how well we run our internal organs, that's the result of what we're creating. And what we are creating is what's going to cause who we're going to be. Not who in the essence, always the same essence, could never change. Who, as far as what do we believe about ourselves? How did we dress up today? Who do we think we are? And that's going to remain on our lens until we manually remove it. It's not going to naturally disappear, it's naturally going to stay. Just like all the experiences of our past are there and guiding us. So this temporary truth is not simply your truth. It's the truth of your people, it's the truth of your family, it's the truth of our species. It's a truth that's shared with everyone that changes, everything that's temporary. Everything that's temporary is singing together a tune to the one that's permanent. And this, to learn the nature of how your experiences, how what's happening today is affecting tomorrow. This is to understand the basic nature of how you function. This is to understand how to create a better future. It's not by dreaming of specifics of how you want the future to be, because we don't know what we're going to want in the future, but simply realizing that every experience, every reaction, every feeling is becoming the one that you are. And so just that awareness is to realize what it is you want to become, to feel the experiences and to taste if they're worthy of becoming you. If you want to take them along for the rest of your journey, if you want their advice for your entire future, for every decision you're going to make. Bring your attention back to the present. Bring your temporary truth to make as little noise as possible, so that you can gain a deeper appreciation for the permanent truth that made it all happen.